Hi there, Dr. William Painter, back again for another Journey Road Ministries moment. I have missed one or two this year. It's been a tough year for me personally. It's been a tough year for a lot of people. And so I can't say, oh, poor me, because, well, it's like poor everybody. It's not like a pandemic happened or anything, or they tried to overthrow a government or anything, or that Russia has invaded Europe, or none of those things. Anyway, we had a lot going on. Today's song is appropriate for our reading. It is Death Cab for Cutie. Those are the performers and authors of the song, and it's called I Will Follow You Into the Dark, which is something that Jesus told his disciples that they could not follow him. So it's appropriate in some ways for this part of the Easter season, and so I'm going to perform it. You can skip this part. I was not going to do it. I thought, oh no, but then music goes so well with faith issues, and even if our voices are not great and our ability to play is not great, I always think of that heaven has auto-tune system. So anyway, without any further ado, we will play Death Cab for Love of mine, someday you will die, but I'll be close behind. I'll follow you into the dark. No blinding light or tunnels or gates of white, just our hands clasped so tight, waiting for the hint of a spark. If heaven and hell decide that they both are satisfied, illuminate the nose on their vacancy sign. If there's no one beside you when your soul embarks, then I'll follow you into the dark. In Catholic school, as vicious as Roman rule, I got my knuckles bruised by a lady in black, and I held my tongue as she told me, son, fear is the heart of love. So I never went back. If heaven and hell decide that they both are satisfied, illuminate the nose on their vacancy sign. If there's no one beside you when your soul embarks, then I'll follow you into the dark. You and me have seen everything to see, from Bangkok to Calgary, and the soles of your shoes are all worn down. The time for sleep is now. That's nothing to cry about, 'cause we'll hold each other soon in the blackest of rooms. If heaven and hell decide that they both are satisfied, and illuminate the nose on their vacancy sign. If there's no one beside you when your soul embarks, then I'll follow you into the dark. Then I'll follow you into the dark. Well, there it is. What it's worth. Go listen to the original. It's way better. And I'll rejoin here after what? After the commercial. I got through that pretty well, I thought. Surprisingly well. As I said, I don't pretend that I'm good at playing music.
I also don't pretend I don't love it, because I do love it. There's something about expressing oneself, like singing in the shower. There's something about expressing oneself that is more than rewarding. And I always think that music and Christianity pretty much go hand in hand. So we're going to start off our fifth Sunday in Easter. Boy, it seems like Easter just goes on forever and ever, doesn't it? This comes out of John 13, chapters 31, or John 13, verses 31 to 35. When he had gone out, Jesus said, "Now the Son of Man has been glorified, and God has been glorified in him. If God has been glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and will glorify him at once. Little children, I am with you only a little longer. You will look for me, and as I said to the Jews, so I say to you, where I am going, you cannot come. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. By this everyone will know you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." Thus endeth the gospel. Now, I know that if you watch these, and I'm sure you haven't, because nobody watches these, but if you had been watching these, you're going to say, wow, but he's going to talk about love again, right? Well, I mean, yeah, I am actually going to talk about love again, because that's what this is all about. This passage, it occurs during the Last Supper, and Judas has just been identified as the betrayer of Jesus. And when he leaves, that's who goes out, is Judas. At this point, in the real world, or actually in the evil world, the world of weakness and bitterness, in that world, we say, that Judas, man, he's going to betray me for just a handful. And we were going so well. I mean, we should stop him. We should condemn him. We should curse him for eternity. And then talk about, and then I'm going to spend the last moments of my life talking about what a creep Judas is, and how he's betrayed everything we stood for. But that's not what happens. That's not what happens at all. He says, I'm going where you can't go. He's going to die. He's predicting his own death. And he says, you will look for me, and where I'm going you cannot come, and I'm going to give you a new commandment. Love one another. And by showing your love for one another, people will know you are my disciples. Now let that sink in for a minute. Much of Christianity today, I came across this phrase. I wish I'd have thought it about myself, but it didn't. It is cafeteria Christianity, where you sort of go through a cafeteria. When I was a little kid, we'd go to Luby's every Sunday after church. And I loved Luby's because I could have mashed potatoes and gravy, and I could have corn, and I could have fried okra, and I could have some kind of, maybe sometimes roast beef and sometimes fried chicken, and then I get a hillbilly salad of some kind. Sometimes I just like a lettuce salad. Sometimes it was like coleslaw, and then the desserts were just amazing, and I could just pick and choose what I wanted. So I didn't have to say, oh, we're all going to have fried chicken, or we're all going to have roast beef today. Everybody got what they wanted to eat. And cafeteria Christians do that with Christianity. They pick and choose what they want. I could have just picked all desserts, presuming my parents had let me. I could have just chosen meat. I could have just chosen bitterness and hatred and exclusivity and judgmentalism. Because I think that's what a lot of Christians, cafeteria Christians, do. When you hear people say, oh, you're running out of baby formula, well, you should have been breastfeeding. That's nothing more than judgmentalism. You don't hear Jesus saying anything like that. You don't hear Jesus saying, oh, you have troubles? Well, it's your own doing. It's your own fault. That's not Christianity. And people praying on the street corner, or praying on TV, or praying in the schools, or praying on the football field. I read a story about a coach that wanted to pray on the 50-yard line so everybody could see him praying. Those are cafeteria Christians. They're not really Christians, because Jesus says, you will know who my followers are because they love one another. And none of those things that I just enumerated are about loving one another. And you would think that being in a pandemic, that we would be forced to be more empathetic and more caring. And you know what happened? We were more divisive. We were more hateful. We were more spiteful. Put a mask on and people call you names. Take your mask off and people call you names. No one says, well, don't you think a mask would sort of reduce the spread of disease? Oh, no, masks kill you. I read that on the internet. Well, that's not Christian, folks. That is not a Christian response. A Christian response is love. Pure and simple, love one another. All right? And when Jesus talks to his disciples, he's not talking to them as prayer warriors or evangelicals in that sense. He calls them his little children. And and every time you go through this scripture, every time Jesus talks about the little children, those are always his kindest words. And he uses those kind words in talking to his disciples. Now, Death Cab for Cutie, that lovely little song that I played, that's got nothing whatsoever to do with Christianity. Well, actually it does, because it talks about love as expressed in a Catholic school. Now, I didn't go to Catholic school. I don't know if it's true or not, but this writer says, fear is the heart of love, and he never went back. And we see so much of that fear as being interpreted as love. A person who is abused loves their abuser. They fear them. Okay? They fear being independent. They fear being away from their abuser. They fear their abuser. And they love their abuser. And they're drawn to anyone who's done work with domestic abuse knows the story that they almost always go back. It's really hard to get them to a place where they're okay enough to move on. There's no love in any of that. That's not love. Fear is not love. Fear of going to hell is not love. I'm going to tell you that right now, and you put it in your pipe and smoke it all day long. Jesus did not threaten people with hell. There's no hell in the scriptures. It was a construction made centuries later, or over the following centuries, I should say, to scare people into converting to Christianity, or they would spend eternity in torment. And then you get Dante's Inferno, which actually, is sort of the topography of hell. And interestingly enough, the inner circle is the worst part of hell, where it's not fire and brimstone, but cold and ice. And the inner, and it was full of popes. Okay? And they missed that message. Somehow, that one went right over their heads. Okay? We have people pushing to ban abortion. Now, I'm not going to talk about abortion, because other than to support a woman's right to autonomy over her body, and in the scripture there is no reference to abortion. In Judaism, that gives rise to Christianity, a woman has freedom. Even the Catholic Church will not baptize a dead fetus or a miscarried child or a child that is stillborn because they weren't alive. Even the Catholic Church, they're not killing children. They're not alive until they take a breath. And that has been that is the determination of living, is your ability to breathe. I don't know, kind of makes sense to me. But restricting a woman's access to medical procedures that she undergoes and chooses and has to do is simply posturing at the expense of people who are in pain. Okay? This is not little children talk. This is, you were wrong. You got pregnant. You need to take care of it. You've done this. You've done this. You've done this. You've done this. And so you must bear that. You were forced to bear that child. Yeah, sure. Oh, your father raped you when you were 14 and now you're pregnant. Well, too bad. You get raped when you're 17 or 20 and your rapist says, hey, I'm the father of that kid, so I'll see you around. Okay, I have rights. Right? None of that is about love. And love is hard. Love is difficult. Love is complicated. It says they love one another. Well, that's easy to say, but it's damn hard to do. I've told my wife, I say this all the time, Jesus told us to love everyone, and I do my best. I don't like most people, but I try to love them. And I don't think we're obligated to like people, Back at the cafeteria, I don't like canned cooked spinach, right? I don't like it, but I love the food. I love the people there. I love everything there about it. I love the hands that went into making that. Just don't want to eat it. I gave a speech last night to an Indian audience, a rather prestigious school in India, university type school, higher education institution, put it that way. And I went in there with some biases about, what they thought and what they were doing and so on. And I was very pleasantly surprised to find out I was wrong. And I love being wrong. I mean, I try to be right, but I love being wrong because that's the learning moment for me when I recognize, oh yeah, you were wrong. And at the beginning of the ceremony, they had this Indian thing, this Indian ceremony, I guess, Hindu, and it was where they prayed to the Maker, and basically it was thanks for us all being around here, and then they light a candle, and it was very simple, but they didn't say the prayer aloud. This was for everybody in the audience to quietly give thanks. Well, why can't we do that? Why can't we privately, quietly give thanks? Why can't we just be like in church? Why can't we, when we're giving a service, why can't we say, okay, now is where I think would be a good time for us to have silent prayer. Quakers do it. Okay, they think that's great stuff. And they don't show off, and they don't show how great they are, and they don't show how eloquent they are, or their lack of eloquence is some sort of badge or distinction. They're just silent. Because there's a lot of times that we just need to be silent and listen. And that is the expression of love. All right, well, that's 12 minutes and 28, 9, 30 seconds of kind of a mixed up message. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Journey Road Ministries, once a month, the last Saturday of every month, is going to have an event of some kind. Watch us on Facebook. Here we go. Follow us on Facebook and hit that subscribe button. I did it. I finally got to say it. Anyway, share it with your friends. These are no obligation events. Last time we had Brian Gennardo, an artist, coming over from Omaha, professional artist, does amazing work. Come over and talk about his being an artist. And poor Brian, he's an artist. He's not a speaker. And he was so nervous and scared. And it was so cute. And he brought some real meaning and interest. And he brought some real interesting things to the group and some good questions. And we connected with that church in San Francisco. And it was a wonderful event. And I think maybe we'll do poetry, not this coming one, but the one after. We'll have a live event on poetry. I think the one coming is going to be a virtual event of some kind. So keep watching, keep listening. As Jack Horkheimer said, keep looking up. Speaking of that, tonight is a full lunar eclipse. So it's clear skies here in the wonderful Midwest. So when you're up at 11 o'clock tonight, go outside. Watch the eclipse and realize how insignificant we are in this grand expanse of a universe, and feel small and feel humble. Humble, not humble, humble. All right. Thank you very much. God bless. And I'll see you on the flip side.